Let's try this once again. Okay, can I run the program? Yeah. Okay. Hiya, and welcome back to Far Beyond the World. Again. I swear to God, network issues are going to be the death of me. This is the... Hang on. Okay, so there's 1, 2, 3... This is the 4th time we're trying this, so let's just hop right in. Let's not waste any time. Let's just hop right in. The following morning greets me with an oddly excited Rannoch hunching over me. He's already in full gear with a short bow pulled over his shoulder, but all I can think about is how cold it has gotten. It's a good thing we moved inside once the fire went out, otherwise I'd be stiff as a board. Yeah. The wolf keeps smirking slyly, and his tail cannot stay still for even a moment. I'm rubbing my eyes, still very much in Nyx's grip, when he suddenly pulls off my covers. Yep. I squeal as the chilly air immediately triggers goosebumps across my arms and legs. Dickhead. Come on, you've slept long enough. You left me to freeze. Okay, I think I've kept you warm enough. He bumps my shoulder and I laugh involuntarily. You seem oddly cheery. I mumble, rubbing myself all over to muster some heat. Why wouldn't I be? We have a few days to ourselves. I'm gonna make good use of that time. Why don't I find that reassuring? Come on, Moondrop, let's get going. The wolf pokes my knees and disappears behind the canvas of our tent. I take a deep sigh and shake my head in amusement. Ever since he got back, he's been infectiously overexcited about even the simplest of things. I guess that's what a near brush with death does to a person. Normally I wouldn't mind that, but I hoped we could spend some quality time, and by that I mean cuddles. It's pretty apparent that he does not enjoy the idea of a lazy day, so I might as well humor him. I pull up the dress and unfurl it, inspecting for any potential blemishes. It looks like it's faring well. I'm not exactly keen on having it on this trip, but then again, it does make me look less like an abductee. Parading around with just a loincloth would definitely raise some brows, especially with how prejudiced tigers supposedly are. Wolves already have a shitty reputation. I don't want to perpetuate it by looking like an urchin from one of Dickens' novels. I quickly dress up and take an idle stretch as I step outside, slowly approaching Rannoch, who arranges a bundle of arrows. I blink as he passes them to me. We're going hunting. There's a clear note of glee in his voice which makes me smile, and despite being slightly taken aback by it, I decide to go along with the proposition. As you say, Fluff. I shrug and the wolf smirks at me. His tail takes another joyful swing before he strides off into the greenery. In truth, I cannot wait to explore the forest some more, and before I know it, I'm walking beside him through the woods. Despite some discomfort, the morning stroll feels quite nice. It definitely brings life to into my otherwise sleepy and exhausted body. Perhaps it wouldn't be my choice of leisure considering the amount of walking we've done so far, but at least our stride is much more relaxed. Every few paces we stop as Rannoch crouches down, inspects the marks on the ground, and checks shrubs and sniffs the air. I watch, mesmerized at the tip of his nose twitches and his nostrils expand with each deep inhale. His eyes are closed shut and it's clear he's frozen in focus, with only ears readjusting themselves in different directions. I must admit, watching him on the prowl like this is impressive, almost exhilarating to a point, but there is also the feeling of unease. As I look towards the thicket, only now does it dawn on me that this is not just a walk in the woods. We're stalking something to eventually kill it, and I frown at that realization. I don't know, this feels wrong. What does? He asks absent-mindedly, still very much focused on the bushes ahead of us. Hunting. Why is it that? The wolf looks to me as he raises from the ground. We have provisions, there's really no need to go out and kill. We only have dry biscuits and jerky. After 2 more days, you'll get pretty tired of both. So, we're just killing another being to spice up our menu? Doesn't seem right or natural. Rannoch scoffs in amusement, getting us back on the move. Not natural? Where do you get those ideas from? There's nothing more natural than a hunt. We hunt just as our ancestors did. Even feral wolves hunt. I guess. It might be true for you, but to me, it just seems cruel, is all I'm saying. I push away a stray branch of a young tree as we push deeper into the thicket. Why kill if you can grow your own food? I didn't see you protesting at the dinner table. The wolf smirks. You were just as eager to devour meat as you were to eat fruit and veg. I know, I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, I suppose. I frown, rubbing my arms uncomfortably. Still, eating meat is one thing, but killing to obtain it? Even if we would want to just eat crops, which we don't, there isn't enough open land in our territory to farm upon. And we would never clear a single tree to create space for another pumpkin patch. He snorts at the absurdity of such a suggestion. This forest is our inheritance, and we do everything to protect it, including population control. Don't feral wolves do that on their own already? Have you seen any? Rannoch gives me a coy look, gesturing towards the forest with an open paw. Coming face to face with the feral kin is almost as likely as seeing the Great Spirit in the flesh. What about that rabbit we had for dinner? Rabbits are vermin. No offense to Trist's feral kin. They breed like crazy, thus the high numbers. He explains matter-of-factly. But any other animal that has normal breeding cycle is a rare sight indeed. Why is that? There's very few of them in the wild. He shrugs. Did something happen to them? Maybe. The wolf concedes indifferently. The tigers claim that the missing feral kin became us a long time ago, after the doom of your species. Skyfall, they call it. Skyfall? I try not to sound overly sarcastic. A great magical disaster that broke the very skies themselves, causing them to fall crashing down upon the world below. He pantomimes in a quick manner, clearly making light of the subject. In the aftermath, we, the beast folk, emerged from the wilds. Or at least that's how tigery scholars explain why populations of feralkin are out of balance. But how'd that work? You mean, like, evolution? The wolf stops and regards me expectantly, clearly not understanding the word. Is that another snippet of your forbidden knowledge? He teases. It seems you did study at Tigeron after all. No, definitely not. I brush him off with a playful scoff. I just remember I've heard a similar theory about the origin of mankind, that we evolved from monkeys. Monkeys? He nearly laughs out loud. Not that I've ever seen an actual monkey, but they're meant to be quite hairy and agile, no? Two things you are definitely not. Throwing shade. As he points it out, I give a subdued chuckle myself. Theories are just that, theories. I personally don't believe any of this nonsense. Freyfall, Skyfall, Fall of Mankind, seems like a bad time to me. Everyone and everything were busy falling all over the damn place. Okay, I think I got his vibe. He's a glass half full type of guy. Why is my CPU usage so high? It shouldn't be this high. Should it? Nah, it shouldn't. Real original naming convention. You can't be that dismissive. Surely they're basing it on something. I respond, quite amused by his clear dislike for anything relating to Tigeron. I can and I am. It's called critical thinking. You should try it sometime. He winks. Tigers will say whatever they need to prop up their worldview. That's why I don't believe a word they say. Okay, Mr. Critical Thinker, what is it that you believe? I tease him with a challenging smile. I believe that our feralkin simply buggered off to somewhere where we aren't. I mean, look at me. He splays out his arms, inviting me to inspect his musculature, which I do quite eagerly, biting my lower lip. If you were a feral wolf, would you like to share your territory with me? A fair point. I laugh and we continue to walk. Sharing a bed with you is bad enough, you keep hogging it. I don't know. I swear to God, this man is making me even more gay than I already am. I'm already gay enough, Rannoch. I don't need you making me even more gay. As it is my bed, I'm the one sharing it with you, strictly speaking. Strictly speaking, you're still hogging it. I feel Rannoch's paw gently press on my chest as he brings us to a stop. Speaking of a hog, He creeps forward, locking his gaze on a small wild boar. I barely even noticed it rummaging beneath a small bush, oinking merrily at a feeding frenzy. I would make a shitty hunter. Stay quiet. The wolf crouches, taking up his bow. For a moment I admire as his muscles tense when he nocks the arrow. But as I follow its shaft, eventually I see what the tip is aimed at. The pig remains none the wiser of its impending doom, and my heart begins to speed up. A gentle breeze ruffles the leaves, and I simply look at the treetops, mesmerized by their dance. Anything than to look at the wolf taking a shot. I half expect to hear the whistling of a flying arrow, but instead, there's just plenty of rustling in the greenery. Instinctively, I look in that direction, and to my relief, I see as the young boar darts away into safety, while Rannoch relaxes his jaw with an annoyed expression. Damn it, we're downwind. I, for one, am glad for the hog. This entire misadventure puts me off from eating anyway. I mutter in discomfort as the wolf rushes towards the direction where the boar has fled, forcing me to follow. You have no idea how quickly those buggers reproduce. If not hunted, the boars would destroy the entire forest in a flash. Really? I ask with a clear hint of doubt in my voice. Yes, really? He replies sternly. They're extremely gluttonous. They destroy young saplings as well as damage trees by digging at their roots. Not to mention, they also prey on other smaller animals, sometimes removing entire species from the surroundings. Without real predators, it falls upon us to control the population and maintain the balance. His voice is filled with mild annoyance, most likely misplaced from his missed opportunity. Either way, it almost feels as if he's mansplaining things to me, and I frown. But how do you know if you're not over hunting? We know. Wrong program. He cuts me off, giving me one of those patronizing looks, but before I can challenge him again, he simply sighs at me. You're doing it again, questioning my way of life. Damn it. Maybe I am a bit judgmental, but then again, how can I know any better? It's not like I've done any of this before. I doubt my dad took me hunting. To me, meat came from a packet on a nice shelf in a supermarket, clean and sterile. This one, on the other hand, feels very personal, and perhaps that skewered perspective is what causes me to get so unsettled. Why would I even apply Earth standards to a world far removed from it? I sigh in defeat. I guess you're right, I'm not trying to be a dick. I say apologetically, resting my hand on his shoulder. I'm just questioning stuff, same as you. Trying that critical thinking of yours. I send him a teasing wink, and it draws a burst of laughter from the wolf's otherwise frowning muzzle. He shakes his head in amusement and invites me into a faster pace. We have rangers to keep tabs on the population of game within the forest. If they observe any drops, we simply focus different game. As in what, you hunt deer instead? Pretty much. He smiles at me, his expression softening from our previous exchange. This entire setup feels extremely foreign to me, but I'm glad to learn from him. I'm pretty sure I've never been hunting in my life. As we brave through the foliage, I notice a very dense shrub busy with beautiful yellow flowers. They're evenly spread, speckled like stars across the entirety of the plant. I've never seen anything like it before, and I'm completely mesmerized by it. What is this? It's a touch-me-not. A touch-me-not? I give him a confused look, and he grins challengingly. Go ahead. Touch it. I'd rather not. I rub my hands uncomfortably, itching to do exactly as told, but also cautious of any potential mischief. You're fine feeling me up and down, but you're afraid of a little shrub? Well, your name isn't Touch-Me-Not. It isn't Touch Me All You Like either. My mouth drops as I look at him in faint offense. You're the one to talk. Come on, just do it. He laughs, elbowing me in the shoulder. This is gonna go so wrong. I roll my eyes and approach the shrub, slowly extending my hand towards a single flower. My finger twitches as I'm fighting my instinctual reluctance. I'm not really sure what to expect. Finally, when I barely touch a single petal, the whole bloom explodes like a firecracker, sending seeds flying in all directions. What the? This causes a chain reaction, and all the blossoms in the vicinity erupt, filling the air with flowers and seeds. God damn it, Rannoch. At first, I am startled, but then I look in amazement as hundreds of yellow petals slowly rain down upon me. The wolf laughs merrily as I brush off the fallout. Now you get it? Well, at least you don't go off like a bomb when touched. Ugh, covered in seed. With the right touch, I could, and the end result would be the same. Go to horny jail. Seriously, Rannoch, go to horny jail. You're being too horny right now. He winks at me suggestively as I try to remove the small kernels that have gotten into every nook and cranny of my dress. Oh, shut it. I immediately freeze, looking back at him in an annoyed realization. You dick, it was a setup for yet another one of your one-liners. And you walked right into it. He laughs and we walk deeper into the woods. It takes me a while to pick the seeds of the touch-me-not from between the folds, and yet I can still feel strays hidden somewhere in an uncomfortable spot. Here, this time we're upwind. Rannoch stops near another clearing, forcing us into a crouch. I can see the boar digging into what looks like a young tree. See that? They like roots. They're juicy and full of nutrients. Nutrients this tree will no longer get. I squint my eyes trying to see better. The pig made a large hole underneath the sapling, pretty much eating at the lush roots. That's enough to stunt a tree, if not outright kill it. With enough of them around, they could easily wipe out an entire new generation. Without new trees, the forest ages, and the older it gets, the harder it is for it to recover. I sigh, realizing that at the end of the day, he knows more than I do on the matter. Alright, I believe you. He actually convinced me, and I see the little boar go with complete abandon at the roots. I never thought they'd eat that. Want to give it a try? He looks to me, presenting me with the bow. I don't know. You said you wanted to learn. He smirks challengingly. Yes, but this... Kalen, we eat the meat, we use the pelts, even bones are used to fertilize our soil. Nothing's wasted. The hunt is just a way to honor the cycle of life. My gaze is locked on the bow for a while. I might understand now why they hunt, and even accept it as a necessary evil, but I don't think I'm ready to kill. Besides, how would I even go about it? I'm not an archer. I've never used a bow before. It's not that hard, you just draw, aim, and loose. You say that, but I'll guide you. He smiles almost pleadingly, his tail rustling among the fallen leaves of the forest floor. He seems really excited to teach me, and his ears perk up in anticipation of my answer. I did allow Foal to coerce me into sausage making, how's this any worse? And Rannoch's almost begging like a puppy. Fuck. Fine. Atta boy. He looks so excited. So happy. He ruffles my hair as we stand up. He passes me an arrow and I try to figure out how to align it. I mean, how hard can it be? I simply pull on the string trying to get the arrow to line up with the bow, but the wolf quickly steps in. No, don't draw the bow unless you're about to shoot, otherwise you might misfire. Even I can't hold it knocked for long, and look at me. He flexes his muscles. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. Here, let me. He moves behind me, his paws taking hold of my hips, and my eyes widen as I feel his chest press against my back. Stand sideways. Let your upper body do part of the work for you. He turns me slightly to my left, his leg pushing mine wide apart, correcting my stance. Once he's satisfied with my pose, his paws move from my hips towards my arms, never breaking contact. He's feeling me up, and I enjoy every moment of it. Hold the bow down. That's right. He croons near my ear as he readjusts my hands. Nock an arrow. Let it rest just above your grip. That's right. I hear his hushed tone of content as I follow the instructions, my heart slowly pounding in my chest. Now set your eye on the target. His right paw ventures to my chin, softly guiding my head into position. Once you're ready, raise the bow, aligning the tip of the arrow with your aim. I take a few deep breaths, my heart racing at his proximity, or perhaps the fact that I'm about to kill something. Nope, it's definitely him. I practically feel the heat of his body, and his warm breath keeps caressing my neck. Relax. Easier said than done. I swallow heavily, trying not to get myself distracted by this intimacy. Keep your eyes on the prize and go for it. I nod and try to draw the arrow. However, my arms cannot pull the string far enough from this angle. I don't have the strength. I'll help you then. He moves closer, and now I'm completely enveloped by his fur and scent. I blush desperately as I feel the familiar poking at my butt. He's not hard, but the bulge itself is enough to send shivers down my spine. God damn it. God damn it, Rannoch. God damn it. Just relax. You're not making it easy. Hush. He covers my hands with his paws, steadying my grip and aiding my draw. Let the motion of your body do most of the drawing for you. Okay. Ready? No? I mumble, and he nuzzles my cheek in encouragement. You can do it, alright? I nod nervously. We knock the bow, pulling it in one seamless motion. Loose. With a sudden swoosh, I feel the arrow fly away from my face towards the boar. It hits the foliage just next to the hog, and the creature darts into the bushes unharmed. Nice shot! He's so excited. So happy. The wolf shakes me in excitement. I missed. I say in confusion, both glad that the beast's life was spared and yet slightly disappointed at my failure. But only by a meter or two. Quite good for a rookie who never held a bow in his life. He winks at me, finally moving away. I know he did most of the work for me, but it's nice to hear a compliment, even if only partially deserved. I try not to look flustered and gaze at my index and middle fingers, both sporting a red bruise where the string sank into my skin. It hurts. I shake off my aching hand. Yeah, the string is a bit much on the paws. Some softer wolves have leather caps for their fingers, but I'm too much of a wolf to wear them. I roll my eyes teasingly. Who are you trying to impress? Certainly not my fingers. Fuck, it hurts. I squirm, seeing how deep the string has dug into my flesh. I feel radiating pain as if I was cut with a dull blade. You're such a delicate flower. He ruffles my hair again, walking towards where the boar was. I follow suit, pretty happy I didn't manage to land a hit. Might have humored the wolf, but I really didn't want to hurt anything. Here's your arrow. He passes it to me, but I just weave my hand. Nah, I'm fine, thanks. I want to still have use of my fingers today. Oh, do you now? He gives me a cheeky grin, obviously insinuating something. Oh, get lost, you horn dog. He's down bad. I push him away with a nervous chuckle, and we continue our hunt. We follow the beast's tracks for 10 minutes, mostly in silence as to not reveal our position. Once my patience runs out, I look to him pleadingly. Seriously, I think we're just wasting time now. Quite agree. He says in a displeased tone. We most likely spooked the little bugger. He's probably long gone. It's for the best. Even young, that boar was too big for just the two of us. I'll take only the best cuts for us. We'd roast them for dinner and take leftovers with us, leaving the rest behind. I raise my brow at him. I thought you said nothing's wasted. Wasted? He nods towards the canopy, and my eyes dart to the highest branches above, littered with an entire murder of crows. What the? Our little friends are eager for a meal as well. When you live in the forest, you learn to share. When did they start following us? Since we left the village. He laughs. But I've never heard anything, not a single caw. That's because they know we're on a hunt. They're quiet as to not spoil our chances at dinner, which is also their dinner. Huh. Well, look at here. Rannoch suddenly crouches to the ground, brushing his paws against tall, thick blades of grass that remind me of chives. Scallions. That's a good find. Do you mind grabbing a few? Fucker. He asks, standing up and getting his bow ready. I'm gonna wait for CPU to go down a bit. Sure. I nod and kneel slightly confused while he scans the environment. Just don't take all of them. Leave at least half so they continue to proliferate. He utters in a hushed tone while his muscles tense. What are you doing? Shh. He shushes me, his ears clearly locked on a target in the distance, and his entire body freezes solid. His nose twitches again, and I could swear I saw his pupils dilate. He spotted something. Quietly, he pulls out an arrow and begins to knock it, causing me to pause. I even hold in my breath, noticing he has stopped for his moment earlier. Almost without a warning, he draws and let loose, allowing the arrow to swish into the distance. There's just a wet splat and a short squeal, indicating he has found his mark on some small critter. As if on cue, the crows begin to cry, startling me a little. They're quite animated, almost as if cheering the successful hunter. I look at the impatient buggers dancing merrily on the branches above. What a strange life this is. So in tune with nature. Not in 1,000 years would I imagine this to be my afterlife. Certainly beats hanging out with robed dudes on a cloud, that's for sure. Realizing I'm tarrying again, I dig up the scallions, waiting for Rannoch to fetch his quarry. He returns with the small-sized bunny hanging by its ears from his paw. Not exactly what I hoped for, but we'll make a fine meal nonetheless. How did you know it was out there? I'm a wolf, aren't I? Granted, but it almost seemed as if you knew it was there beforehand. He points casually to the scallion patch. Wherever there's wild vegetables, there's a small warren nearby. The rest is just instincts. Come. He pats my shoulder and I get up. I think I've dragged you long enough through the woods. We'll have plenty of walking after food. Still some distance to cover. I wasn't complaining. But you were about to, I'm sure. He winks and I simply follow. As we approach the campsite, Rannoch's eyes drill into a patch of odd fern-like looking shrub. Rosemary, we're really having a lucky streak here. At least our stew won't have to be too dull. Can you fetch a few stalks? Sure. I nod and rush off into the foliage. On a closer look, the plant resembles a very odd conifer, the stalks covered with needle-like leaves. The scent is familiar too. I snip a handful of the shoots and return to the wolf. Will this be enough? It'll be plenty. He nods with a smile. Once at the camp, he wastes no time and begins preparing the fire. Not sure what to do, I just sit myself comfortably near the tent, looking as the wolf scurries about. Do you need any help? Nope, I've got this. He states with a proud tone, and I rest my chin in my palms. Have you ever skinned a rabbit? No. I mutter reluctantly. Do you want to give it a go? No. I shake my head and turn away, not willing to witness the horror show that's about to follow. As you wish, my lord. Ugh. I roll my eyes as he genuflects and plops down next to the fire. Not soon after, I hear the sickening crack of the bone, followed by the sound akin to the peeling of duct tape from a wall. Oh god. Oh god. I thought this was meant to be our getaway. So far it feels like you're torturing me. Torturing you? Is it my fault you're this squeamish? He laughs, rummaging through the backpack. I notice he still holds the rabbit's skin, intent on stuffing it in there. What are you doing? The pelt's quite good. We'll get some coin for it. Thought we had plenty of coin. We do. He smiles, finding a free space to deposit the skin into. Waste not, want not. Something you seem to favor but oftentimes forget. I sigh in amusement and turn back to him. I'm still a little unnerved seeing the headless bunny with all its red muscles on full oh god. Oh god. Its red muscles on full display, especially when Rannoch's now sinking his blade into its belly to gut the thing. Oh god. I can handle a lot, but oh god. Again, I look away, only hearing as he's pulling out the innards, flicking them into a nearby bush. Immediately, the accompanying crows dive in and begin to squabble over their free meal. Once I hear him rinsing the meat, I know it's finally fine to look back. He cuts the rabbit into pieces and tosses them into the now bubbling pot. You like it runny or thick? Oh god. Oh god. I blink in confusion, distracted by the fighting birds behind us. Hope you're liking them. What does that mean? Their frenzied screeching echoes through the woods and makes it hard to think. The stew. Do you like it runny or thick? Whichever you think is better. Considering we have no cream or spice, a bit of body wouldn't hurt. Pass me one of the biscuits. Reluctantly, I reach into the backpack, hoping that the pelt isn't in contact with our provisions. Thankfully, Rannoch's smarter than that. He must have put the pelt in the front pocket. I pass him the roll of bread and watch as he crumbles it in his paw, sprinkling over the pot. Once it dissolves, it should thicken it, just like the pie crust did yesterday. Pass me the scallions and rosemary. I do as he asks, and he simply dumps the rosemary while taking extra care with the scallions to remove any dirt. Then, with his knife, he cuts the scallions into nice small pieces, drizzling them over the stew. When he's finished, he dusts off his paws and sits back to relax. I really hoped for a roast you'd enjoy the ribs. I'm happy with the stew as well. They kind of became a fixture of our meals. Talking about the next day would have surprises. Is this the... In the words of this YouTuber, or that I like to watch, are they going to do the horizontal tango today? Well, this one isn't going to be as good as the one back home. All we had was water and biscuits to thicken it. But it should be richer than the one last night. The herb should lift it up a little, but it's still going to be quite plain and boring, I'm afraid. As long as we're together, nothing's plain and boring. He snorts in amusement. Did I say something funny? Every day. But currently, I'm having a hard time deciphering whether you really enjoy my company or not. Hey, that's unfair. I enjoy plenty. I protest. Even if he's teasing, I don't find it funny. Mm-hmm. He smirks at me challengingly, leaning towards a pot and stirring the bubbling stew. It's the activities that sometimes are hit or miss. Just like your aim. He winks and we both erupt in laughter. We cannot stop for a while, and I have to give him props. He can make my day with the simplest of things. Once we both calm down, he continues to stir the stew, taking discreet glances in my direction. I want to give you some exciting memories to revisit when you're back home, leading your comfortable human life. Whenever that will be. I poke him teasingly, but this time merriment seems to be lost on him. Might be sooner than you think, and should that day come, I want you to have an array of things to remember me by. Okay, thank you. Where is this coming from? I blink, but he just shakes his head. It's just something that's been bothering me recently. Life has gotten pretty hectic and unpredictable as of late. Should we part ways, I'd like to think you'd remember me. I would never forget you, Rannoch. I reassure him, looking into his troubled eyes. Odd thing to say, especially considering your condition. He mutters seriously and I sign slight defeat. True, but since my memory isn't getting any better, I don't think we need to worry about parting ways anytime soon. I reach my arm around him and pull the wolf into an embrace. He looks at me shocked at first, his eyes slightly glossed, but he musters a smile and leans into me. For the moment, I just want to follow our initial plan. And what plan might that be? To fill my empty mind with memories worth 1,000 of those I've lost. I'll drink to that. He says in a somewhat wavering tone, and to cheer him up, I reach out to our bags. I grab the wineskin and bring it close, removing the cap with my teeth. I take a deep gulp and pass it to Rannoch, who simply nuzzles my cheek and does the same. I don't know how to say that.
Self-voicing enabled. Sa Ellen, slaint. Self-voicing disabled.
Slaint. That's definitely not how you pronounce it. With our bellies full and the mood improved by some quality time, the first leg of our journey comes easy. We joke and mess around to pass the time, and before I know it, we're already stopping for our first breather. Seeing the wolf in good spirits, I smile and lean onto his shoulder. The lower part of my body is slightly raising in revolt, plotting how to overthrow and murder the upper one, but all I can think of is how happy it makes me to be at his side. He passes me a piece of hard biscuit and some cheese, and we nibble idly, engaging in small talk, and before we know it, we're on the road again. The evening comes slowly, slow enough to exhaust all my earlier good spirits. The road became hard and my legs began to stumble early. Slante. Seeing my growing struggle, the wolf decides to break camp sooner than expected. At first I protest, but he reassures me that we've covered enough distance to justify it. Apparently we're halfway there, and I take some solace in this knowledge. I try my best to help with setting up the tent and digging up a fire pit, but in truth, I'm so spent that the wolf ends up doing most of the work anyway. Near the end, he simply unfurls the bedding and his cloak, cushioning a seat out of them and nestling into a tree trunk. I waste no time and make myself comfortable next to the fire. Today's trek was murder. Ugh, I wish we had taken the soap because now I smell like wet socks. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You smell fine by me. He takes an idle sniff around my neck, and I chuckle as he tickles me with his wet snout. but I draw the line once he crams underneath my armpit. Okay, that's enough. I yell playfully, pushing his muzzle away, but he seems unfazed. You finally started to smell. Like you. It's an important thing for a wolf to get to know someone by their true, unadulterated scent. Ugh, as cute as it sounds, I'm afraid it'll get pretty unadulterated, even if I don't have a proper wash. I throw in mockingly, causing him to shake his head. I think you're being too paranoid. I can differentiate between a stench and a smell. You just smell like someone who spent 2 days on the road. Yeah, that's the sort of thing decent humans try to avoid. Who said you have to be the decent kind? He bops his brows tauntingly, and I cringe in embarrassment. I'm way too tired for smut talk, and thankfully he picks up on that, moving on with his train of thought. Well, you can always rub yourself with some greenery. That tends to soften the scent of a sweat. Yeah, no, I don't see myself doing that either. I scoff, and the wolf finally crosses his arms. You're just making a lot of fuss over nothing. Wolves don't have such problems. Well, I'm not a wolf. Can't exactly lick myself clean, can I? I say in jest, only to see a light bulb flash above his head and his eyes narrow intently. Lick, eh? If that's the problem you have, I can happily aid you. He pulls me in close, planting a long and seductive lick across my cheek. No, stop it! I laugh, pushing him away, but he only reinforces his hold and continues this impromptu feral bath. Ugh, now I really need to wash myself. I continue to chortle, and I can see his eyes narrow again just before his slobbery tongue flops right onto my face in another, this time more playful lick. There, clean like a whistle. Rannoch! I groan, rubbing his drool off my face when his challenging smirk gets to my goat. Gets my goat. Two can play this game. I quickly plant my very own lick onto his cheek, to my immediate dismay. Ew. Task failed successfully. I try to spit out the handful of fur now stuck to my tongue, drawing a loud laugh from the wolf. I told you I shed easily. He grins toothily and stretches back, resting against the tree. Either way, I think we should make it an early night. The wolf mumbles just before a long yawn escapes his muzzle. You seemed pretty out of it today. Me? You're the one, yaw. I pause, interrupted by my own deep inhale. Yeah, I'm too tired to tease and argue. Let's just have a good night's rest, eh? We have some distance to make up tomorrow. Sounds fine by me. Ad Astra and Silly Tales of a New Dawn traumatized me. I mutter, looking towards the tent with a troubled expression. It seems almost dumb to suggest it yet again after we went through the trouble of setting it up, but the moment just doesn't feel right, and it feels quite warm outside, not counting the fire. Would you mind a repetition of yesterday? Sleeping next to the fire, resting against the tree. You've made my seat here quite comfortable. The wolf looks at me with mild surprise, but quickly chuckles. You seem to be fond of sleeping rough. Had I known this, I wouldn't have bothered with the tent. You're the one lording me around. I laugh teasingly. I did tell you this whole setup felt a bit over the top. We could have made do with just blankets. Yeah, you're saying that because the weather holds. Had it been raining, you'd whine worse than an unweaned pup. I guess we'll never find out, will we? I snicker, but his gaze is locked in the sky above. It's another beautiful night, and we spend a moment or two just admiring it. Okay, we're safe. Why do I keep opening that up? No dinner, then? I'm too tired to be hungry, and the breakfast was quite filling. True. He snorts and closes his eyes. Sitting like this, embraced in the flame's warmth, I dare not to move a muscle. If I could, I'd simply merge with the tree behind us and become inanimate forever. Despite his earlier bravado, he also barely moves. With his eyes closed, it's even hard to tell if he hasn't fallen asleep already, but the idle flickers of his tail tip betray he's still very much among us. He's pleased, and soon he expresses it tenderly. I'm glad you're this outdoorsy. Truly, it's a part of my life I would have never given up. You're a wolf, I say quietly. One should never cage you inside four walls. Woods is where you belong. He croons softly and gives me a gentle nuzzle. He then readjusts himself, laying down on the ground and using my lap as a pillow. I smile, seeing his head nestled peacefully in my groin. Oh, God. He looks so cute and calm, gently drifting away against his judging by his swelling breath. He said it. He said it. Amogus. Okay, well, if that's the case, then let me just hide that. Let me just hide that. Fuck. Let me just hide the entire window. Despite being equally tired, I struggle to surrender myself to the Sandman's magical dust, so I observe the wolf in silence. I feel truly happy and at peace. Everything is as it should be. The starry sky shimmers above us, the fire gently cracks, casting dancing shadows across the treetops. I don't know why, but a song comes to my mind, one I've heard during a life I've shed on the other side of this blue expanse. It's so fitting and in tune with my inner feelings that I decide to hum it. Seeing Rannoch's expression brighten at the melody. Okay. Why do I keep opening that? I'm encouraged to sing it in a hushed voice. Stars shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. I gently pet his forehead and continue softly. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me. While I'm alone and blue as can be, dream a little dream of me. Instinctively my eyes begin to venture to the shimmering sky up above. Stars fading but I linger on, dear. Still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear. Just saying this. Sweet dream till sunbeams find you. Sweet dreams that leave all worries behind you. But in your dreams, whatever they be, dream a little dream of me. I lean in forward, gently pursing my lips against his forehead, almost like a wish away to make the lyrics ring true. Dream a little dream of me. I sigh out breathlessly. I really am in love with this wolf. I smile, taking in his peaceful muzzle. Is it peaceful or peaceful? It's peaceful. He's asleep now, visited by the, to me at least, elusive Sandman. Instead of sand, he brought me a man. Tell him his lonesome nights are over. I chuckle to myself and lean back against the tree trunk, my eyes venturing to the moon now slowly raising above the tree line. Let me make a note of that real quick. Let me make a note of that real quick. I got it written down. Aluna's visage is just a silver slither on the right-hand side. Wait, did I already read that one? I think I did. I nod towards the moon goddess and silently thank her for bringing me here, to him. Reborn in a strange new world, my life beside him is the best thing I could have wished for. And with that thought, I finally drift off to a peaceful rest. Peaceful rest, oh my god. At first it's a mild nuisance, a gentle sway failing to stir me up from my sleep. But then it becomes much more bothersome with powerful rocking as if I were on a boat on a stormy sea that finally forces me to open my eyes. Morning, sleepyhead. Rannoch utters in a soft tone, quite ironic considering the harsh way in which he just woke me up. What time is it? I respond, lazily rubbing my eyes. To my surprise, I find myself laying in the tent again. He must have carried me inside somewhere in the middle of the night. I was pretty out of it. It's late, he says with a slightly troubled expression. I gave you an extra hour of sleep on the count of our trek last night. You must have been exhausted. Yeah. I exhale, my voice carrying the burden of the previous day's march. My feet hurt like hell. Can't imagine doing this barefoot. I'm glad your little invention works as intended. He snickers, giving my shoes a quick glance. Here you go. Today's a cold breakfast. We didn't do all that well yesterday, so here's some catching up to do. Huh? I mutter sleepily, taking hold of the plump quiche he just passed me. We've only covered 20 miles, just shy of 21. That sounds like 21 more miles than I would have liked. I can barely force any energy into my chuckle, biting down into the creamy pastry. Even served cold, Core's quiches are delicious. The filling is rich and it's clear she didn't spare on ingredients. Mmm, so goof. I mumble, chewing in pleasure. I don't feel all that rested, to be honest. I know. He responds apologetically. That's why I assume from now on your stamina is only going to wane. It's going to wane. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I flash my brows, taking another hungry bite. The wolf passes me the wineskin, from which I take a shallow sip to wash down the eggy pastry. How do you know how much distance we've covered anyway? I ask as Wolf steps outside to start clearing up our camp. To me, it's just one long, monotonous march. I call out. There are small milestones near the roadside. Depending on the direction you face, they have an abbreviated name carved into them with the remaining number of stones between each of the destinations. We camped some distance after one bearing an SB4I inscription. There's 41 more miles to cover. I nearly choke on the food, coughing out whatever chunk went down the wrong pipe. Yep, if we cover at least 20 miles a day, we'll reach the city in 2 hops. Might be a day later than I would have liked, but still, you're doing well enough. No, I'm not. You said we were doing fine yesterday. I rub my lips in slight annoyance. I don't like when he sugarcoats things. I just wanted you to enjoy yourself. I'm not about to rush you like a pack mule. How many miles would you cover normally in a day? 35? It depends on my stride, really. So I am slowing you down. I mumble worriedly and he shrugs uncomfortably. A little bit, but it'll be fine. I'm happy to have you here regardless, but it would be best if we didn't fall further behind. I thought we could get right to it today without any distractions. Yeah, we probably should. I mutter, continuing with my breakfast. Honestly, you should have said something yesterday instead of taking us on that hunting detour. Then again, I did enjoy the time we spent together, and probably would have worried needlessly and get discouraged if you did, slowing us down to a crawl. Little bits of lighthearted tomfoolery did bolster my failing spirits quite a bit. But now, knowing our predicament and how desperately the supplies are needed back home, I rush on with my breakfast. My mind keeps focused on Verissa and the difficult task she's facing with little to no medicine at hand, and that torturous knife of hers. Once in Strandbart, I'm going to find a replacement. I got 2 tokens after all. They've got to be with something fancy. When I'm done with my food, I step outside and help pack the camp. We get quickly on the move, trying to catch up to whatever distance we've lost due to my tardiness. Just as he said, sometime after leaving our spot, we passed the SB40 marker. 40 miles doesn't sound that bad, and with his proposed pace, it's actually less distance per day than we did so far. Yes, I think that is a realistic tempo. The road meanders endlessly between various groves and meadows, but the forest doesn't show any signs of thinning out. Again, as was the case yesterday, I need all my strength to focus on covering as much distance as possible. Therefore, we push on in relative silence. Every now and then, the wolf draws my attention to a rare bird or a particular tree of some unique type, things that are meant to distract and encourage me, but which quickly go over my head. I feel bad, but I'm too tired to feign ignorance in ornithology or botany, and my legs are killing me, a fact I'm constantly reminded of each time I must stop to correct the improvised soles tucked beneath the bandaging. I sigh, and when the sun reaches its zenith, shimmering high above the woodland canopy and sprinkling me with golden splotches. I close my eyes and enjoy the gentle warm kisses on my skin when I'm suddenly pulled to a halt by Rannoch's paw taking hold of my shoulder. He's alert and looking intently into the thicket on our left. There's something in the woods, even I can see that now, as the shrubs begin to move and rustle. Well, well, well. A large gruffy wolf steps out onto the path, his eyes wild and shimmering with murderous intent. This man over here making me question my morals. Mighty Rannoch, the motherless cur. He growls in a low, raspy voice to match his rugged exterior. Erof, I thought I've told you what would happen if I ever caught you in my neck of the woods again. Do we really have to do this? Rannoch sounds hesitant as the other male cracks his neck and begins to flex menacingly. Oh, I've waited way too long, my friend. Come then, tonight you dine with Aluna. Not unless I send you to her first. My wolf pushes me gently as he unbuckles his pauldron along with a longsword, allowing them to fall freely. I shudder at the metallic clang of his gear as it hits the ground, looking to him with worry. He removes his side blade as well and tosses it aside, hunching down in a combat stance with his fingers feathered out, and the other wolf does the same. Are they really going to fight? My answer comes with a lightning-fast charge of the gruffy male. They clash together, paws interlocked, and their muzzles twist in vicious snarls. My heart quivers at the sound of their animalistic growls, so primal and hateful. They strain against each other for a moment when suddenly Rannoch pivots to the ground, undercut by his opponent. He groans painfully as he slams into the dirt. His eyes shoot open, and he rolls away just in time to avoid being elbowed in the ribs. What the hell is going on? Motherfucker! The gruffy male curses, stumbling back to his feet and rubbing the now bruised elbow he just smashed into the road. His infuriated gaze locks with Rannoch, and they clash again. They exchange a few frenzied series of blows, each drawing a strained grunt or painful bark. Punch, block, block, punch. One series after another without a clear winner. They're going fully at it, sweat and bruises dotting their bodies. Then an uppercut to Rannoch's muzzle causes a streak of blood to drip down his nose. That's it. Let's go. I cover my mouth in shock, almost ready to call out and beg them to stop. Then a swift punch to the gut causes the gruffy wolf to stumble back, and Rannoch doesn't waste any time. He rushes him, gripping the male from behind and lifting up to deliver a brutal slam into the dirt. Oof. This time it's the gruffy male that spits out blood while Rannoch mounts him. Now they're tumbling left and right, struggling, grunting, and growling viciously. I don't know what to do, and my panic grows. This is insane! I'm so consumed by the savage spectacle that I don't notice when another, much skinnier wolf emerges from the greenery. He has a sharpness to him, with piercing green eyes measuring the fight from underneath his hood. Okay, that's enough, he says in an unimpressed, soft monotone, calmly approaching the scuffle. You can stop now. He shuffles on his feet to avoid getting caught in the fight, but they pay him no mind, still very much intent on killing one another. Seriously? Seeing his anemic intervention yields no results, the skinny wolf takes a deep inhale. Okay, enough! This time a thundering scream echoes across the woods, completely unbefitting the frail frame it emerged from. The birds fly off startled, and the belligerent wolves stop in their tracks with equally shocked expressions. All right. The gruffy male groans, getting up to his feet and spitting out some blood to the roadside. Jeez, you're such a wuss, utter bookworm, not an ounce of muscle itching for a fight. He extends his paw to help Rannoch up, and my wolf grins toothily, rubbing his muzzle clean. Nearly cracked your ribs there. His voice carries undeniable twinge of wild satisfaction, and I barely recognize him. In your dreams, dandy boy, I was about to emasculate you with a swift roll followed by a kick to your ghoulies. Unbelievable. Raging male hormones all over the damn place. I like him. The skinny stranger sighs, covering his muzzle in embarrassment and drawing an amused snort from Rannoch. Long time no see, Taliesin. Why so grumpy? If you had to deal with this prick all the damn time, you'd understand. Oh, he's saying that, but you should see the way he writes about me. One would think he's in love. The one named Erof pumps up his chest with a grin from ear to ear, embraces the hooded wolf, who does not hide his displeasure at the gesture. I told you not to go through my works. He writes about you? Rannoch blinks in part shock and amusement. Tally here wants to be a bard, a scribe. The scrawny wolf corrects, causing the gruffy one to roll his eyes in mild annoyance. Even worse, all that scribbling and no music to show for it, simply scribbling things for other scribblers to read. Hold on, let me wait for my CPU to go down. Why are you writing about him? Intrigued, Rannoch crosses his arms and smiles challengingly. I'm simply trying out my prose. I've described a few duels, that's all. Interesting. Not as much as your stories, I'm sure. I want to work at the villa. I'll be writing plenty about you in no time. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, Hmm. Okay, so Rannoch's pretty attractive. We need to do a tier list. That's actually a good idea, tier list. Oh? He's leaving my pack for this nonsense. Can you believe it? The gruff female splays his arms pitifully, drawing a reluctant laugh from my wolf. That's quite a step down. Isn't your coming of age this summer? He asks idly, picking up pieces of his gear and slowly dressing up. Yeah, Vol has, he's got muscles. He's fucking Batman. Thinking like Vither, Vither just looks done with life. Like, he looks like he takes care of his kids. Tano's a twink. He's a twink. Trist is a bitch. It is, and I wouldn't consider my choice a demotion. If I'm going to be a true wolf, I must first be true to myself. I simply decided to pursue my real ambitions. You made any sense of that? Erof flicks his muzzle towards Rannoch, but my wolf only shrugs. You've read too many stories, Tally. A true wolf has to be built of sturdier stuff than parchment. Actually, that's a good idea. Like, I'll try and like set up a tier list or something, and then we'll get right into the game with like a tier list tomorrow. That actually sounds like a good idea. I've tried this whole warrior hullabaloo, and it didn't work out. Talison's gives them a scornful look, and the two wolves exchange taunting smirks. It's not like you tried that hard. Rannoch jabs playfully, and the skinny wolf clicks his tongue. I'm not meant for combat. I never were. You two clearly were bred for this sort of stuff. He nods to their bruised and bloodied coats. You might not be a fighter, but you're one of our best trackers. Talk some sense into that fool. Erof tries to rope Rannoch into the argument, but my wolf raises up his paws in defeat. I don't really have a horse in this race. Anyone can track. My skill set is limited and quite underwhelming compared to the other wolves. I mean, look at Tano. He's a pipsqueak, and yet he can take on wolves the likes of you. You and those fanciful tales you spin. The gruffy male chuckles mockingly. Tano couldn't defeat a stationary broomstick in combat. I wouldn't dismiss him like that. He's an alpha for a reason. If I get far enough next stream. Okay, so we gotta do 2 tier lists. Got it. Rannoch's voice carries an air of seriousness, but Erof only scoffs. So is Verissa. Doesn't prove much, does it? Oh no, he's sexist. I cringe internally. Okay, this guy's an asshole. He's like... I swear to God, his entire personality is that one ugh sound made in ugh from week 7 in Friday Night Funkin'. That's his entire personality. I swear to God. He has the personality of a fucking brick wall. He has a personality of some random white guy from the 1950s. That's his personality. If Verissa can hold her own against Raging Vol, I bet she could hand him his ass on a silver platter. I watch as a cocky male turns to face Taliesin with a pleading expression. I mean, how can you abandon me like that with a green paw nonetheless? I'm thinking beyond my fists and muzzle. I make no difference in the field, while I could be of greater service to the tribe if I were in charge of our written records. We haven't had an actual chronicle composed in nearly 200 years. In the Tigery War, the time of strife that followed, Rannoch's grandfathers and fathers' reigns. He looks to them with determination. So much stuff has happened, yet all we have of it is oral record. Soon people who remember it will die, and the details of our recent history will be lost with them forever. I see you're serious about this. What does your father make of it? My wolf nods to Erof, causing the bulky male to shrug indifferently. He doesn't care much, as there's quite a few pups short of claiming their names, which would need a pack to call their own. I'll have to train the whole lot of them. Think of it this way. More muzzles to beat on. The skinny male proposes coyly, but the gruffy one remains unconvinced. His expression shifts to that of genuine concern as he measures his friend with unrisen brow. I just think Tally is throwing his life away on some fool's errand. Mock me all you like, but I don't need either of your opinions. Taliesin scoffs, crossing his arms petulantly. Few moons back, I've messaged the chief requesting to work at the villa as a scribe, and he agreed. So, come Equinox, you'll be seeing much more of me. He winks to Rannoch, and although at first surprised, the wolf responds with a soft smile. I'm looking forward to it. In all fairness, I'm glad we bumped into each other. I didn't expect to find anyone out here. Likewise. The gruffy wolf nods, patting Rannoch on the shoulder. Come, join us. We have a camp nearby. Not much food to share, but we have some wine. Wine will be good. As for food, I've caught a rabbit yesterday, so do not worry. We had a pheasant last night, the juiciest bird I've ever tasted. He nearly gobbled it up on his own. Had I known we'd stumble into you, I'd have saved some. Highly doubt it. You barely left any for me. Big bad wolves like me gotta eat. Scrawny little mice like you can survive on scraps. Taliesin scoffs and they proceed to walk into the forest. Once there's some distance, I begin to silently follow, observing the manners of bunny wards I managed to pick up thus far. Silent, deferent, and at arm's length, just like the wolves like them. At first, I'm being ignored, despite me shadowing their movement through the thicket, but eventually the gruffy male throws me a curious gaze. Is he, just going to stare at us, or... Thank you, Taliesin exclaims, joining his hands at the chest. Someone finally acknowledged the other kin in the forest. I didn't want to be rude, but I began to worry we were going to pretend like this is normal, no questions asked. Oh, that's Kalen. He is my ward. Trust me, we know who he is. Erof's voice carries a slight bitter tone as he turns his back on me. The hooded male, on the other hand, slows down his pace to remove some distance between us. Do you speak Tigery, human? He asks in a polite tone, but all I do is give him an empty gaze. I bet he swapped languages without me noticing again, so I play it off dumb. Hello? Tigery? Lights are on, but nobody's home. Erof laughs and Rannoch gives me an apologetic smile. He's a bit timid. I'd say he's slow. I don't think he has seen a wolfkin before. So, what of it? The gruffy male scoffs. I've never seen a human in my life, yet you don't see me falling to pieces. Oh my god! I had a similar thought about that yesterday, about how gym bros constantly bully people. I have to side with Erof on this one. He is a bit creepy. Taliesin twinkles his fingers at me and speeds up to rejoin his friends, silently observing us with those knowing eyes. I'd sleep with one open if I were you. He shows no signs of malice, I can assure you. Famous last words. Eventually we arrive at a small clearing where a similar tent is set up. Everything here looks very much akin to our own campsite, which makes me smile. Rannoch must have done this a lot on his duty. It feels nice to take part in this intimate side with his life in Turnin. So, what are you guys doing here? He asks, taking a seat near the extinguished fire pit, patting a spot beside him to let me know where to sit. I do so quietly, effectively being separated from the strangers by his towering body. I'm glad for that. It makes me feel a bit more at ease in this new company. We've been assigned to the road for extra security. We've been days at it without a moment's break. Erof sighs, rummaging in their supplies to emerge with a bulging wineskin twice the size of our own. He passes it to Rannoch and my wolf uncorks it, giving him a curious glance as they settle down. Seems excessive. Any reason for that? He asks, taking a swig and passing the bottle to me. To my surprise, the other two don't even bat an eye at this, and I decide to wet my lips. There's been chatter among the sentinels. The tigers seem rather spooked for some reason. They've tripled patrols around the forest's edge, almost as if looking for something. Any idea what they were looking for? Rannoch gives me a troubled gaze, and the gruffy male shakes his head. If you think this has something to do with your infamous coming of age, I'll have to disappoint ya. They weren't looking for the human. How do you know? Because they would have sent word. Taliesin pipes in and Erof passes the wineskin to him. No, they were looking for something on their own side of the border. Why didn't you notify the villa about this? Who do you take us for? The hooded wolf snorts, nearly choking on the wine. We've sent multiple reports to your father. Oh. Rannoch sounds troubled, rubbing his neck awkwardly. I guess you didn't share those with me. Some things never change, eh? Old wolves treating us like pups. He laughs, taking a deep gulp almost as if for emphasis. The way you two act, you very much are pups. Just overgrown a little. Don't mind him. The gruffy male waves his paw. He is just pissy because I've accidentally dry humped him in his sleep again. Oh god. Oh god. The fuck, dude? Don't say that. Taliesin jumps up to his feet. I smile, seeing as his ears go red on the inside. He looks all cute and flustered, almost as if he indeed had a crush on his friend. He's a twink. You need to learn to loosen up a bit. Erof pats him on the back, harshly drawing a groan from the scrawnier male. What's a little dry humping among friends, eh, Rannoch? Yeah. This time it's Rannoch who's flustered at the comment, and I look to him in surprise. Is he known for dry humping people in his sleep? Is that something common among these wolves? But we don't get to linger on this too long as Rannoch quickly deflects the issue. So, what about those tigery patrols? Father thought it was some poachers sneaking at night and stealing from the local farmers. But we've made thorough accounting. Any missed duty was met with flogging. Needless to say, we didn't lose sight of even a single of our wolves. So what was it then? Don't play dumb with me, you know far more than we do. The strained tone of the gruffy male betrays a hint of offense. The word travels fast. We know where you were and what you did in the northern groves. Well, rumors are not the best source of information. That's why I'm asking the very hero himself. If Regara needs rescuing, shit must have gotten pretty bad. If she needed rescuing, we're all fucked. I'm sorry, friends. I'm not at liberty to discuss that. Rannoch contracts a little, not really uncomfortable with the subject, but rather unsettled he has to withhold information from those he clearly considers as close. Had I known you were here, I'd hand you the howl summons personally. As it stands, it will be delivered by one of the others. Yeah, no, not sure Father will be attending all that. It died. It died for a little bit. Erof swishes his paw dismissively. He's been taken ill for the second time this year. That, and he's also very much not keen on bumping into a certain someone. His contemptuous tone makes me immediately think of Aldris. But then again, that's just my bias. He could mean anyone, really. Well, then he'll have to send you in his stead. It would be nice to have at least one favorable wolf on the jury. I wouldn't count your chickens just yet, not until you explain what's the deal with the human. The gruffy male gives me a piercing yet non-threatening look as Taliesin issues his long sigh of relief. Finally, I was itching to press the issue from the moment you ended your childish roughhousing. I mean, you must have heard of it already. Not from you. News that reach us are often muddled and come from conflicting sources. Well, I'm not sure the accounts agree on this part. I found him wounded at my name tree on the night of my coming of age. Shut up. I thought it was just fancy talk. No, seriously. My wolf exhales in amusement and takes a deep chug of the wine, again passing it to me. I felt compelled to go against all my instincts and protect him. I take a shallower sip this time, carefully observing their reactions, but to my surprise, the wolves show no sign of disapproval. Anyone would. You're meant to go and look for a sign. What would you call that but a sign? I took such a beating for that little shit. Erof growls in amusement, shaking his head. He swallows the wine more aggressively, a slight resentment hidden underneath his restrained reaction. We all did. Taliesin places a paw on his shoulder. The entire pack got flogged the moment word reached us about the intruder. How the fuck did that twitchy-looking shit got so deep without being noticed? There's a raspiness to his voice, almost as if he stifled a growl in each of his words, but the anger doesn't seem to be directed at me. I don't know. In all fairness, the entire situation was messed up. They say it was an ambush or some ritualistic crap. Erof groans, passing the wine to Taliesin, but the male refuses with a gentle sway of his paw. And with this, the bag arrives back at Rannoch. He looks at them with clear sadness in his eyes, bothered by what my appearance meant to them personally. I'm not going to deny, I don't feel too great myself, knowing that a number of wolves got physically punished over my sheer existence. He takes another swig, almost as if looking for courage, and exhales harshly. I found him naked and wounded, with lots of blood around. He definitely didn't do it to himself. So, what are you saying? The gruffy male's wild eyes drill into him in annoyance. That we let more than just one stranger into the forest? I'm not saying that. Well, that's exactly what you're saying. Shut the fuck up. Taliesin butts in, slight offense evident in his tone. Look, I'm sorry you've been flogged, but he was at my name tree. That part I cannot take back, even if I wanted to. It's the truth. It's clear Erof didn't want to hear that, but surprisingly he simply looks into the extinguished fire and aims his annoyance at the charred wood. Somebody left him there to either die or got spooked by me before he managed to finish him off. Or she, I mean, we can't assume. Oh, shut it, Tally. Erof cuts the scrawny wolf's attempts at levity and looks to Rannoch with an angered resolve. I don't need apologies. I need an explanation. If that little shit was in the force, then I deserved what came to me. We all did. But I want to know how exactly that happened. Because unless the intruders were invisible or the human magically came to be on the spot, I see no way for any of this to happen. I'm sorry, friend, but I don't know what else to tell you. Rannoch shrugs with a pitiful expression. I wish I could explain any of this, but I can't. Either way, we have more pressing issues. Not really. We're the first layer of defense and we failed. Considering what's happening in the north, I very much think those two are connected. Perhaps, but that's for the Howl to decide. So what about him? Any insight from the human? He finally nods in my direction and Rannoch shakes his head. No, he has no recollection of anything prior to me finding him. Kalen is very much a victim wrapped up in this nonsense. A likely story. Taliesin flashes his brows, his sharp gaze landing on me, but Rannoch has none of it. It's not a story, it's a fact. The poor kid doesn't even know who he is. That's why I'm taking him to Strandbard. Someone there might shed some light on the matter. I think it's a mistake taking him out of the forest. He should be interrogated and... It's a good thing it's not up to you then, is it? This time it's Rannoch who tenses up and struggles to contain a growl, letting them know that I'm off limits in this exchange. Vol and I got all the information from the human we possibly could. Vol even went as far as to stab the damned thing. Holy fuck, that maniac. Erof laughs, patting his knee. Still, bringing him into Strandbard might rub the tigery the wrong way. A rabbit in the paw is better than two in the bush, I say. I'd say let the rabbit go if you can hear it ticking. Thank you for that invaluable insight, but I think my father knows what he's doing. My wolf reiterates again, causing Taliesin to take an aggravated sip of the wine. Rannoch, we've been friends for a long while and you've been good to me. Honesty is the least I owe you. It doesn't look good. He shakes his head and Rannoch tilts his. What doesn't? The Howl. The wolves are not happy. Our villages used to live off small-scale commerce with the locals across the tree line, but that's all gone. Now we play a role of unpaid overseers of the impoverished burrows, extorting whatever crops the big wolves demand. It's not a way to live. Between that and our sentry duties, we're constantly harassed by small-time Lapin brigades. What? Rannoch sounds shocked and Taliesin crosses his arms mockingly. Why so surprised? We've been sending letters to your father for months now. Some of the Sylvan folk are already up in arms, and can you blame them? He doesn't discuss politics with me. Politics? The hooded male scoffs. Our way of life is at stake. We're just as much a part of this tribe as you fancy wolves are. Cool it. This time it's Erof who calms down his companion. Your quarrel is with Varrock, not Rannoch. But as I said, old friend, it doesn't look good. He faces us with a serious expression. With this human walking fiasco and now the northern raid, your father looks increasingly incompetent. You see, they blame us for your little pet's arrival, but there is no us, is there? There's 18 outer packs bordering Tigeron alone, each equally adamant that they weren't the one to fail. The human was sown dissent among us. This human has sown dissent among us. And we don't know who we can trust. He said it. How did he get so deep into our forest? How did the Golderin wolves enter the northern groves uncontested? Where was the alarm? Yes, the Howl is going to be mighty interesting on account of your little friend here. I can see the clear fear in Rannoch's eyes as Erof summarizes the situation. I think we've all been underestimating the far-reaching consequences of my existence. My first instinct was to brush off Aldris's screeching as nothing but fear-mongering, but there might be more merit to our arguments than any of us were willing to concede. You really think my father could lose a seat? I don't know. The gruffy male shrugs. I'm not a soothsayer. For that, you'd have to ask Versa. But I wouldn't assume things would go on as they did so far, as if nothing happened. Should it come to a vote, you have my confidence and support, that I assure you. But it's you, not your father, who has my loyalty. Erof, you know I respect your opinion, which means you'll attempt to change it. Taliesin pipes in yet again, but Rannoch ignores him. I would never try to sway your vote, but I ask you to consider this. Should my father's position come into question, there's never been a chief as young as I am. Voting for me, you'll be simply giving up the wreath to someone else. Or perhaps I would be signaling to others that there is another choice. Erof states coldly, where does it say that the chief cannot be young? We need change. We need fresh blood at the helm. The way things are, the wreath would simply go to Vither almost uncontested. You and I both know that those old-timers are playing a guessing game with who wears the damn thing half the time anyway. He scoffs, drawing a frown from Rannoch's muzzle. There's really no point in denying this fact. Even Rannoch himself got slightly taken aback at how brazen and blatant the two got at their charade. The Outer Pacts want change. Vither won't be that change. He will be more of the same. If you want a revolutionary change, you might get one. After all, among our peers, I'm not the only one with a strong claim. Rannoch states plainly in a voice devoid of any levity. If you don't support my father, nor Vither, you might end up with Tano as chief. Tano? The gruffy male erupts in a long bout of laughter that nearly lasts a minute. It takes him all the willpower to compose himself, and even I must admit to finding humor in the sentiment. If anyone nominates that little defective creep at the Howl, I'll personally challenge them to a duel for a grave insult of the gathering. He's not defective. Oh, please. Erof cuts him off. We all heard of it, the way he conducted himself at the infamous feast. He should count himself lucky not to be exiled. Another failing on your father's part. On that, I will disagree. Rannoch shrugs calmly. After all, I'm the insulted party. Why would I defend him? You're a soft paw, Rannoch. You've always been one. Had Aluna not blessed you with a sturdy build, you'd be pushed around like a sweet naive pup you are. You tried to push me around a few times. Do you remember what happened? My wolf raises his brow at the gruffy male, and they both snicker. Aye, you rang my head like a damn tigery bell. Then trust me when I tell you I'm not being soft. Rannoch grips his pendant tightly and looks to Erof with deadly determination. Do I have to swear on my moonstone for you to believe me? I dislike him for other reasons, personal ones, but I respect him as a wolf and a fellow alpha. Okie dokie. Okay, if you say so. The gruffy male bops his hands up in a playful surrender. But still, his candidacy would be a joke. Now with Aldris's and Drawn's backing. Now that would be an ironic twist of fate I'll gladly see. Great Aldris, unmaker of chiefs, paving a way for Tana's ascension. He scoffs nastily. Ascension assassination. Not much of fucking difference, is it? I'd say it's a grotesque and in very poor taste. Taliesin sneers, causing me to ponder their words. It's just another proof against Tano's character. If he's fine having anything to do with that murderous wrench, he's worse than a tail raiser. He's an honorless scum. At that, Rannoch falls silent and looks into the pit. His expression is strained, almost as if hiding some deep pain. Tano, Aldris, his father of all wolves. There seems to be a complicated history there that slowly starts to reveal itself. At the very least, I think my earlier assumptions about Rannoch and Tano began to check out. I watch as my wolf takes a last deep chug of the wine and gets up, passing the remaining contents back to his friends. Well, it was nice catching up, but I think we've stayed long enough. Oh, don't be like that. The gruffy male waves his paw at him, clearly thinking Rannoch took offense to his words. I won't deny I'm not entirely comfortable with the conversation. Honesty, right? For sure, hard truths, my friend. Well then, the hard truth is despite being uncomfortable, I'm actually glad we had this talk. Oh? You've reminded me how bad things have gotten and I'm needed back home. The sooner I'm done with my errand, the quicker I'll be at my father's side. Swear on your moonstone that you're not upset with me. They lock their expectant gazes for a moment, and after a while, Rannoch releases a heavy sigh without fulfilling the request. Ha! I knew it. Erof raises to his feet, patting Rannoch's shoulder merrily. Next time we see each other, you'll get to throw the first punch, eh? You really sure about that? Last time I got somewhat serious, I've accidentally dislocated Drer's shoulder. Ha! Drer makes Taliesin look like he's made of granite. Hey. I'm sorry, my pretty little scribbler, but that's the truth. I saw that wolf break a thumb during a spar once. Who does that? He scoffs, drawing an amused smile from Rannoch. Yeah, well, Drer's on the delicate side. Almost as if his mother was made out of glass. I bet Vither had to be sedated not to break her. That wolf knows how to dish it. The way he goes about it, mating looks like the most vicious of battles. The gruffy male blurts out as if it were nothing, shocking us all. I was watching him once have a tumble with my aunt when he stayed over. Poor bitch couldn't walk straight for a week. Likes to hate fuck that one. Ugh, gross. Taliesin groans, and I increasingly suspect he might be one of us. I could understand the females fawning over him in his glory days, but now past his prime, that wolf became a fat joke. One without a punchline. Rannoch chuckles reluctantly at their banter, but his amusement is not entirely genuine. Okay, you're trash-talking my adoptive father. He tries to pass it off as a jest, but the way he spoke of Vither earlier, I can feel he's not exactly comfortable with the topic. Hey, man. We don't kink shame around these parts. If he wants to watch, let him watch. We don't kink shame around these parts. Hard truths, my friend. You can't escape them. Erof reminds him and Rannoch reluctantly. Rannoch nods reluctantly. But yeah, I understand your pain. I love getting serious from time to time, but Tally here is a bleeder. I punched him once during a spar and he ended up coughing blood for an hour or so. It wasn't funny. I thought you popped one of my organs. The scrawny wolf grumbles uncomfortably. Oh, I'm sorry. When we're being invaded, I'm sure the foreign wolves will be mindful of your low pain threshold. See? You'll be glad to be rid of me. He dons a testy tone and it's hard to tell if he's teasing or not. Oh, come on, Tally. I don't want another fucking pup. I'm happy with my fragile little flower. I'll even let you scratch that itch and draw me naked like one of your on-wind wolves. It was an anatomy study, you idiot. Taliesin blurts out in embarrassment, and I barely contain a chuckle. God, you're so embarrassing. Fine, I'll let you study my anatomy as well, but nothing too exciting. I'm saving up for my mistress, and she's a thirsty bitch. The gruffy wolf winks and Taliesin throws his paws at Rannoch. See what I have to deal with? I really missed you guys. Pity you don't come around anymore. Yeah, well, duty and all. Erof shrugs but quickly brightens up. With the howl coming and this food transferring, you'll see more of us enough. Though. Tell Vol I want a rematch. Your collarbone wasn't enough. It was raining and I slipped. It looked more like he sent you to the ground. As if you would know anything about combat. The gruffy male issues a growl in protest. This time I'm sure I'll hand his ass to him. I mean, look at Rannoch. If Dandy Boy over here can beat that lunatic, so can I. I won against Rannoch. Only stands to reason I should win against Vol. Flawless logic, as always. Remind me, why are you the alpha? Oh, right, you're daddy. That's a slightly low blow. Rannoch takes the comment somewhat personal and I raise my brow. I'm teasing. Don't need to get your balls in a twist just because your daddy is the chief. How is it that you two can crack so many defective jokes without batting an eye, but when someone implies you might be getting a bit preferential treatment is crossing a bridge too far? Because we fucking say so. Erof states sternly, but noticing Taliesin's defiant gaze, he softens his expression into a cheeky grin. Besides, those are no jokes. I'm a wolf. I'll breed whoever I damn well please, and that's no one's business. If you like a little bit of this, I'm happy to give you a taste. There's plenty of Erof to share. God damn it, Granddad. God damn it, Erof. He points to his groin with a toothy smile, causing the scrawny male to roll his eyes in fluster. But saying I'm not deserving of my position in the tribe, that's an insult. My father is a bitter prick, and he wouldn't give me a crumb from his table, had I not earned it twice over. All right, geez. Taliesin finally concedes in an indifferent tone. The show of self-worth you two make yourselves. You wouldn't understand. You were born a nobody. You make your own path. With no famous parents to dictate you which road you need to take. Gee, thanks. You have such a way with words. As much as I can somewhat empathize with your sentiment, I don't think it's wise blurting liberal stuff like that around. Oh? And what's that old man gonna do? Erof asks dismissively. Banish me, his most capable wolf? His son and heir, no less? Just because I buggered a friend? I don't think so. And you don't see that as preferential? Taliesin scoffs. What about the other wolf? What other wolf? The one that would have been caught with you? Well, that's their problem, isn't it? The gruffy male snickers, scratching his nose. Can't go running around saving the entire world from its bad choices. If you want to taste the forbidden fruit, there's always a risk involved, and that risk makes the fruit oh so much more sweeter. Pragmatic as always. Rannoch snorts in amusement. And charming. If you're peckish, I have 2 massive fruits for you to feast on. I nearly gasp as the gruffy male grasps his bulge and bops it merrily, causing Taliesin to push him away. Ugh, get lost. Like you're getting lost in my abs. Eyes up here, my dainty little flower. Like, even if I swung that way. Finally, Taliesin put some playfulness into his voice. Who in their right mind would want to end up with a prick like you? Scrawny little cock teases who enjoy getting pricked by a stronger male. Seems like someone I know. Erof winks, drawing another blush from his friend. Right, as much as I enjoy your little courtship, I really must be going. Rannoch says through his soft, embarrassed laugh. For someone as flirty as he is, he seems easily flustered when witnessing other people's crude advances. We might not see each other on your way back, as we're due to be relieved soon. So, until the howl, friend. Until the howl. Rannoch nods and they lock their arms in a brotherly fashion. And I'll see you on the equinox. Taliesin utters, taking his turn embracing my wolf. Until then, Tally. Rannoch smiles and with a soft push of his paw guides me away. As we proceed to leave, and I pass next to the gruffy male, he suddenly pounces in my direction without making actual contact and I stumble. Rah. Grar. I issue a girlish yelp, jumping to the side in panic. Even if I wasn't startled, seeing his hulking, bruised, and still blood-stained wolf extending his claws at me would cause my heart to skip a beat. The fuck? Rannoch looks back in bewilderment. What did you do that for? Sorry, wanted to check if he's not a mute. Erof laughs and I shuffle away from him. He's got the same set of lungs on him as Tally does. They even share the skewered pig mating call. One of these days I'm going to smother you in your sleep. The hooded male grumbles, giving me a soft apologetic gaze as I carefully pass them. We're going to leave off here tonight. Oh my god. Fighting autocorrect. Oh my god, I swear to god, this game is going to be the death of me. Actually, fuck it, let's do the tier list right now. I'm very energetic right now. Let's do the tier list. If I can find it. Tier list creator. A tier list is a ranking system. New tier lists. That. Need to like actually find one. Jeez. Make a template. See if there's a different one because I don't think I like tier maker. Even though it's probably the easiest one. Actually, we'll wait to do that next time. I thought it would be a good idea, but no, we're gonna wait till next time because I gotta like actually make it. So, anyways, stay safe, have a good night, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.